Today we're going to be talking about doing some different tracking exercises. So ways to kind of get you on track, and it also works on equilibrium and balance. So a couple things you can do, and you can do this standing or sitting, is it's tough. You try to balance this, any sort of a device that's long and narrow, that's balanceable. Now, a couple ways that you can kind of still challenge yourself, but also avoid whacking yourself in the head with this would be to protect it. Now, some people will curl their hand, but that kind of takes the effort out of it. I mean, you can do all sorts of things that way. But if we're really trying to, work on our equilibrium, tracking, all that stuff, well, this is more of a balance exercise. You really do want to kind of challenge yourself. Now, if you're standing up, you can really kind of go chase after it, but it is tough. So the other option, like I said, is you can kind of keep your hand around it, so if it starts to fall towards you, you can grab it. But still trying to use your body and your eyes to balance this. And then also switching hands, which one of your hands is going to be a lot harder than the other, oftentimes. But the more you work on that, the better you can get at it. So it's tricky. Little circus move there. And then for tracking, you can you can even just use a pencil, you can use your finger, but if you have something else, you want to just keep your eyes on one area of it, and then you just follow it with your eyes. Now, it's easiest seated because you're not going to get completely thrown off balance probably while you're seated. But when you're standing up, sometimes you can get a little dizzy. I even get a little dizzy sometimes doing these kinds of exercises because the room is moving around a little bit once you start moving that thing, and then do up and down. And there are also several other things you can change about this. You can follow it only with your eyes. If you stay a little closer, it's easier. And that one I would probably just do finger. So just moving your eyes, not moving your head. And then up and down. Make sure that your eyes are tracking. It's also a great exercise for your eyes because there's a lot of different muscles connected to our eyeballs. And, they need to be trained just like every other muscle in our body. And I think sometimes we strain our eyes, but we forget to train our eyes. And I'm sure you can look up information on that too, some other ways. You can do circles. Like I said, if you start to get dizzy, just back off a little bit. And then, again, bringing it farther away is when you would move your head. So the closer in tracking, try to challenge yourself and just move your eyes. And then something farther away, even a finger with your arm extended, you can go ahead and move your head as well. And doing all those things in different planes of movement. You can also do diagonal, all sorts of stuff. So that is really helpful for your eyes and for tracking. And then, like I said, once you have that dialed in when you're seated, you can go ahead and stand up and try it that way. Just make sure that your feet aren't super close together, that they're somewhat spread apart, and that you're soft in the knees so that you're not locking out your joints and you get dizzy and fall down, because that would not be a good deal. And then you can look down at the floor here as I roll that thing off of the table, almost. You can set up kind of like a little course. You can use dog toys, stuffed animals, whatever you want, anything, balls, and you can set some things on the floor and then challenge yourself by stepping over them. And if that's easy, step over them backwards. Because the truth is that we do a lot of daily activities in different planes of motion than we do exercises. A lot of times exercises are, we're marching, we're in a frontal up front here. But the truth is, we sit down in a car and then we twist in a sagittal plane to get out. And sometimes we can lose footing and fall that way. So if you're doing a side to side where you're stepping over something this way, or you have a course where you have several things where you can do that, you know, you can do it and then you're working your muscle in your body and muscles in the same planes that you're actually doing your daily activities. That way you're training your body. And like I said, even throwing in some twists can be good, where you're moving different ways. Now, obviously, this could throw you off balance pretty easily unless you're extremely stable. You can do it in front of a counter where you're, you know, have a couple chairs lined up where you can hang on to them. But I would always recommend to continue challenging yourself, because the truth is that if we're not challenging ourselves to grow with muscles, with balance, and things like that, if we're not a little wobbly, chances are, not that you can't continue to excel or progress, but I guess I would just say that wobbling a little bit just means that it's harder for me. Like if I'm having to struggle a little bit, then I'm challenging myself and then I'm growing. You know, my muscles, I'm building that strength, I'm building that balance, and it's important to continue doing those things. So just because it might be hard, don't be hard on yourself. It's actually a good indicator that you're improving if it's a little bit difficult. Now, of course, don't forget to read the disclaimer. I don't want anybody jumping over these things without a support at home by themselves or any of those other things. But, you know, having it be a little difficult is not a bad thing. It can be positive for your body. Again, a little difficult. And then, yep, just continue to grow, continue to progress, continue to stay active. Even just continuing to stay active, to move on a regular basis, go on walks, things like that can be really beneficial to you. Of course, assume your own risk at those things. If you're concerned, make sure you're not alone. Take care of yourselves. All right, have a good day.